Good evening and welcome to Trenton State College, where tonight the 22-0 East Brunswick Lady Bears play the 20-3 Lady Blue Devils of Westfield. Hi, I'm Scott White alongside Paul Griegel for the 1992 Group 4 State Finals. Paul, these teams certainly aren't strangers. They've seen each other before. Once earlier in the season, East Brunswick came away with a 4-0 win, and they've been here on this field before in the same situation. What does the 1992 Westfield starting lineup look like?
Well, Scott, to take a quick look back, as you mentioned, these teams are not strangers. Westfield and East Brunswick are both two of the premier programs in the state in girls soccer, both in Group 4 and overall. Back in 1989, these teams met. East Brunswick got the 2-1 victory there. Three seniors from this East Brunswick squad, Lisa Raby, Karen Bizup, and Deborah DiNicolo, were on the field for that game. And then later in the season, they had the 0-0 tie right here at Trenton State in the state final. They were co-champions that year. Of course, since then, they haven't met in the state tournament. But this year, as you mentioned, a 4-0 win for East Brunswick earlier in the season. But Westfield's season has turned around a lot since then. After that, Westfield gets a victory over Union Catholic. A loss to Union Catholic earlier in the year. But since then, they've won 13 straight games. The keys for Westfield, Stacy Tortolot, along with her sister Lexi Tortolot, and Lori Chilius and Antonio Lafredo out on the field. And in the goal, Amy Korchak, very strong back there, keying the team, along with Coach Pete Giordano, to get 13 straight wins and get back to the state final.
East Brunswick and Westfield certainly have seen different roads to the state finals. What was Westfield's road to the finals look like?
Well, Westfield, coming out of the Northern Region, the North 2 champion, they're ranked number 7 in their most recent Star Ledger poll. They've had a lot of tougher games than East Brunswick has had to see. Of course, their sectional final was against Randolph, a 1-0 victory in a shootout there against Randolph. And then another shootout in the state semifinal. Ridgewood was the opponent in that one. That was just last week, a 2-1 victory for Westfield there. The game was very close throughout, a very hard contested match between the two squads. The only 2 goals were scored during the overtime period. Ridgewood scored first, Westfield equalizes. They go to the shootout, Westfield pulls out the victory. So they've had a lot to put up with throughout the year. Of course, the 13 straight wins, very in great danger of losing the winning streak with those overtime and shootout victories. But now they're ready, and since they've had to play so many tough matches, including the 2 shootouts, they should be ready for an East Brunswick squad.
Okay, as you mentioned, their last 2 state victories over the last couple of weeks have come down to shootouts. Tonight, if there is a tie at the end of the game, they'll play 2 10-minute overtime periods, and that's it. If it's a tie at that, they'll go down as co-champions, just as they did in 1989. How about East Brunswick? What do they have to show today?
Well, I guess showing in terms of today, they're 22-0 right now. You can't say much more than that. Their season's been very successful so far, and to really cap it, they'll need to get the victory today to make it a truly successful year. You can't forget what they've done throughout the year, of course. Only 3 goals throughout the season against them. They've had an interesting road getting here. It's been a little bit tougher than it had been earlier on. In the semifinal of the state, they defeat Holy Cross 1-0, and Madison Central was the team they faced in the state sectional final, in the Central Jersey final. East Brunswick winning that one 1-0. Of course, Madison Central, no stranger to East Brunswick. There are 4 meetings between the teams this year. East Brunswick getting the victories in all of those games, of course, but each time by a decreasing margin, 4-0, then 3-2, and 1. So East Brunswick has been having a little bit more of a challenge as of late. Their schedule's been rather tough, but now's the time they just have to pick up the game a little bit more, and as they're ready to face Westfield here and pick up yet another state championship.
And finally, how will experience affect this game? Certainly both teams as units have been here a number of times, but East Brunswick does have 12 seniors on their roster, and Westfield only has 5. Do you think it'll make a difference?
In some ways, yes. As we mentioned before, Lisa Raby, Karen Bizup, and Deborah DiNicolo have been around since their freshman season, playing in the state finals. Also, a lot of experience on the field for East Brunswick in terms of Chris Black and Carla Swartz back at sweeper, arguably the best in the state at the position, along with goalkeeper Laura Buttenbaum. Westfield, on the other hand, lacks the seniors, but they do have a very talented combination, again, in the Tortolot sisters, Stacy and Lexi. Along with goalkeeper Amy Korchak, they should make it interesting. Now, East Brunswick has been here before. Their team has been undefeated throughout the year. That's a lot of pressure for a high school team to put up with, but they've handled it very well, only letting up a few goals throughout the season. So I think they do have somewhat of an edge in terms of that. Also, in terms of coaches, Brian Merrigan has taken over for Lou Cosa, who had the stroke earlier in the season, but Pete Giordano only in his 2nd year up at Westfield.
Well, as you mentioned, the Tortolot sisters are the keys to the Westfield lineup. Brian Merrigan says that to win, they have to neutralize them on the other side of the ball. Westfield coach Peter Giordano says he's got to look all over the field. So there you have it. Number 1 ranked East Brunswick takes on number 7 ranked Westfield. And we'll be back with the kickoff in just a minute. right, and you see the captains out on the field for East Brunswick and Westfield as we get ready to start the Group 4 state finals. Let's take this opportunity to run down the starting lineups for East Brunswick. We have Laura Buttenbaum in goal, Carla Swartz, Chris McLaughlin, Tamika Perez, and Jessica Shue in the backfield. Chris Black, Jeannie Raby, Amy Bizup, Deborah DiNicolo, Karen Bizup, and Lisa Raby. On the other side of the ball for Westfield, Amy Korchek starts in goal, Suzanne Folger, Antonia Lafredo, Stacy Tortolot, Cheryl Krevsky, Nancy Schultz, Lori Chelius, Lexi Tortolot, Elizabeth Capano, Brooke Wiley, and Christy McGovern. Running down that list here, an awful lot of sets of sisters on both sides of this ball. East Brunswick has 3 sets of sisters playing today. For Westfield, 1.
Yeah, it must be something about this Group 4 soccer. I don't know. Westfield, of course, with the Tortolots, a very strong combination there. No shabby combinations there for East Brunswick, of course, with the Rabbies, the Bizups, and the Blacks. I mean, throughout the state, you see a number of other ones. The Bowers up in Ridgewood, formerly the Griegels. You have a number of them throughout the state in other programs also. So it just seems to be something with these teams that they get these players coming up. We've mentioned youth programs before. Strong feeder program, no exception there with Westfield and East Brunswick. East Brunswick, a very strong youth program. Westfield with a very strong youth program as well, and the Westfield Cup each year in the spring. So it's going to be an interesting one here with both teams ready to go.
All right, there you just saw Brian Merrigan, the coach for East Brunswick, giving some final pointers to his club, and this is it, their last chance, the final game. There's no tomorrow. They've been playing since late in August, the hot summer days. Now it's the end of November. It's certainly cooler, and this is it. Some of these players have been together 10, 12 years, and they know that there's no tomorrow. That certainly will be on their minds as they play today.
No doubt, Scott. As we're ready to get started here, East Brunswick ready to take the field. We have 40 minutes on the clock. 0-0, of course, the score. We have not begun yet as East Brunswick come on in their home white uniforms with the green and the green and white socks. Westfield ready to break from their final huddle, coached by Peter Giordano. They're ready to break in their visiting blue uniforms, royal blue, with their blue socks. They'll be going from left to right on the screen. East Brunswick starting from right to left.
As you said, Peter Giordano, he's only been coaching this club for 2 years, whereas Brian Merrigan has taken over in the head coaching job this year after Lucosa fell ill earlier in the season with a minor stroke. But Brian Merrigan's certainly been on the sidelines and been at this stadium on a number of occasions. When we talk about experience, that, as you mentioned in the pregame, is another experience factor.
And all that will be put behind, however, as we're getting ready to get started here. Once again, Westfield huddling one more time on the field. East Brunswick's already out in their positions. Once again, back in the goal. Laura Buttenbaum looking ready. Her team's out there in front of them. As you mentioned, this is the final game for many of them in their scholastic careers. They want to go out with a good one. The kickoff will be taken by Westfield. So we're getting set here. Paul Griegel and Scott White ready for the New Jersey State Group 4 final. East Brunswick at 22-0, Westfield at 20-3. 40 minutes on the clock, and we're ready to go. The referees are checking all the last-minute details, have the timers ready, the goalkeepers are ready, and we're on our way. East Brunswick against Westfield. And the play has begun. Westfield controls out in the middle. Through ball, and it looks like it will go all the way back to East Brunswick goalkeeper Laura Buttenbaum.
You mentioned Laura Buttenbaum. Another thing that's on the back of the minds of East Brunswick players tonight is they're coming in with 20 shutouts from the season. And with a win tonight, they'll break an all-time school record of 21 shutouts. I mean, with a shutout tonight. So while that isn't the primary concern, obviously they have to be focused on winning. You know, it's in the back of their minds they're looking to get that school record of 21 shutouts.
As they are looking once again to pick it up, as they had shutouts in their last 2 games, as we mentioned, against Holy Cross and Madison Central to get this far to the state final. Westfield looking to clear. East Brunswick trying to get pressure up there. A throw-in upcoming for the Lady Bears. Jeannie Raby to take it. Westfield having a little bit of trouble clearing, getting to the ball that time. Lori Chelius.
We're only in about a minute, but no one seems to have taken a clear stand at an advantage yet. So far, it's been a lot of loose balls.
And a nice ball into the middle. It goes towards Raby, Lisa Raby that time. Big save there, Amy Korchak. Korchak very strong in the last couple of games, coming up especially big in the state semifinal against Ridgewood. She had the win there in the shootout. Got a 1-1 tie in regulation and overtime. Now East Brunswick looking to clear again. Headed up by Amy Bizup that time. It's coming back towards Tamika Perez. And she gets it back into the offensive third. East Brunswick with a good chance upcoming. Westfield looks to clear over midfield, but will take a funny bounce on the turf, running it down. Lexi Tortolot. High ball in towards the middle. East Brunswick looks to control. Sister Stacy Tortolot almost gets there. Number 18, Lexi, once again in the corner. She can't control again. A little bit of trouble with the turf, as we mentioned. The bounces are a little bit different. Also, as nighttime is falling here at the Trenton State College field, the lights are on. Those are two big factors, I'd have to say, Scott, throughout this game, especially with the teams not used to playing on turf throughout the year.
Certainly. I spoke with Coach Peter Giordano of Westfield before the game, and he flat out said it's terrible. He doesn't like the AstroTurf. He said all year the girls play on grass, and this is it, the final game, all or nothing. It's played on AstroTurf, and as you know, you've played on AstroTurf before at Rutgers. It's definitely a different kind of game. On the other side, Brian Merrigan, he isn't as concerned about it. He says his players know what to do. They did get to practice at Westfield this past week, I believe Thursday night under the lights. Excuse me, they got to practice at Rutgers under the lights. So they have a feel for it, and he says it's not going to be as big a factor, barring that the rain holds out. Of course, the clouds are around, and there is a threat of rain. If it does rain, both coaches said one bounce could be the difference in the whole game. You know how things take the ball will take an odd skip on a wet turf.
And that's the way it always goes in soccer, as there's a little odd bounce there, and the foul will be called against Westfield. Indirect kick coming up for East Brunswick. It looks like we had an obstruction call on that one. So the indirect kick coming just on the right side. East Brunswick with one of their best chances so far coming up.
East Brunswick also always shows a lot of variety in their restarts. They usually have a number of set plays. They don't waste their restarts very often.
And that time it rolls around a little bit, trying to keep it in are the Lady Bears. That ball rolling too fast off the turf. That went off the foot of Westfield's Cheryl Krevsky. East Brunswick will keep possession. Now they're establishing the pace, establishing themselves as the #1 team in the state. They have to show that now and try to get the goal early on and put this one out of reach. Amy Bizup with the centering pass. Offsides will be called on that, however, as coming out to make the save, Amy Korchak, all for naught, just outside the 18. Indirect free kick upcoming for Westfield.
I believe that was Deborah DiNicola. You can see in your screen right now that was offsides on that one. She picked up the lone goal against Holy Cross that brought East Brunswick to this game.
So now Westfield looking to counterattack. They can't do much as running it down, number 21, Chris McLaughlin. And she clears it just over midfield, but Westfield now will have a chance as they're trying to put a little bit more offensive pressure on. Score now still 0-0, 35.5 minutes left here in the first half, just underway basically in the state Group 4 final. Westfield can't convert, East Brunswick looking to get it out.
Well, so far spent a great deal of time in the middle third of the field. Peter Giordano said before the game, as a lot of coaches believe, games are won or lost in the middle third of the field. He said the key is to neutralize their offense. He's concerned about their defense, but primarily, he said they got to win in the middle third of the field.
And right there, we had a foul called in the middle third of the field, right over midfield, in fact. Dangerous play against East Brunswick. On the ensuing indirect kick, it's coming in now, and a little bit tough. Swartz runs it down. Slips, loses her footing, and once again, you see right there the loose ball. That's one of the factors with this AstroTurf. Tortolot now looking to keep in. Stacy Tortolot with the ball.
Big chance for Westfield. Buttonbound lost the control of that ball, and Carlos Swartz came out and cleared it earlier in the week. As I had mentioned before, a key to this East Brunswick team, as I guess would be with Westfield, but East Brunswick does have 12 seniors that have played together for a very long time, and earlier in the week, the goalie, Laura Buttonbound, said that she always knows where her defenders are. Carlos Swartz has been playing in front of her as long as she could remember, and she always knows where Carla is without even looking. And there was a perfect example. Without Carlos Swartz there, that certainly would have been a 1-0 advantage goal for Westfield.
So now East Brunswick trying to make it 1-0 as we still are scoreless here in the early going in the state Group 4 New Jersey final. East Brunswick running down against Westfield. Off a Westfield defender. You'll see a throw in now for the Lady Bears. Deborah DiNicola controls and gives it back out. Good cross, good chance. Lisa Rabi looks on it. And she just can't get it again. You see Amy Korchak coming up with another big save. As we spoke to her before the game, she's very confident out there on the field, and she needs to be to keep her team in this. She's going to be facing a lot more shots of that nature close on and from further out on the set pieces and restarts, as you mentioned, Scott.
Certainly, and she doesn't seem hesitant to come out of that box at all. She comes out in a very bold, commanding manner. That's already the second or third time. We're just about 7 minutes into the game, and she's been out of the box a number of times.
And that one was a good chance there. It was a through ball. It was intended for Lisa Rabi. She looked a little apprehensive to run through, thinking the referee might have called offsides on her. So instead we have a punt that comes out from Korchak. Rabi once again looking to get a goal for East Brunswick. Now once again, Rabi running it down, trying to keep it in. And again, the AstroTurf comes into play there on the grass field. That ball is going to stay in. Something you've seen many times before, Lisa Rabi running the ball down, trying to get off a cross.
You've called that name a number of times tonight, Lisa Rabi, a front runner for East Brunswick, who now holds the school record, I believe, at 115 career goals. She's the leader on this team so far this year with about 41, Coach Merrigan said, but he wasn't exactly sure. And, she has the largest proportion of goals. There's no one very close behind her. She's the next person closer is Karen Bizup, who's up in the upper teens, according to Coach Merrigan. When I asked him, does it matter if you only have one person putting all the balls in the goal? He said, doesn't matter. As long as we win the games, get the ball in the back of the net, doesn't matter who puts them in.
That's what it comes down to, a little bit of disparity in scoring, but East Brunswick not suffering from it at 22-0 this year. And once again, the ball goes back to Buttonbound. A couple of substitutions came into the game for Westfield. Number 9, Gretchen Mansfield, a freshman halfback, as well as forward/halfback Carrie Humphreys playing for Westfield now. She's a sophomore.
You mentioned the freshmen. I see that Coach Giordano has 2 freshmen on his roster today. East Brunswick doesn't have any freshmen, which is something a little bit different. Over the past few years, East Brunswick has been bringing up freshmen, as you mentioned before the game. 3 of the players on this field today. Lisa Rabi, Karen Bizup, and Deborah DiNicolo all played their freshman year. They've had 4 years of experience. They'll be graduating. There aren't freshmen to come up behind them, but there are a large number of sophomores on this East Brunswick team.
And just on that last play, Carla Swartz showing why she might be one of the best in the state at her position at sweeper. She's another senior, wasn't around in her freshman year, but she's been around long enough here for the Lady Bears, really establishing herself back there at the sweeper slot. Now East Brunswick looking to take over and bring it to the offensive third once again. Now with the ball, Chris Black gives up again. Lisa Rabi, one defender on. Trying to get it over to Karen Bizup. She can't. She's kept in that time. A nice head ball. Good chance there for East Brunswick on that last one. Looked like Jeannie Rabi getting a little bit of action there. The sophomore, younger sister of Lisa, keeping the ball in. Just getting it on, and again, coming up with the save, Amy Korchak. But once again, East Brunswick has putting a lot of pressure on. They keep that pressure on the rest of the evening. They should get a goal very soon. So now we have just over 30 minutes to go in the first half. The score tied at 0, Westfield and East Brunswick. And East Brunswick once again looking to mount some offensive attack. Taking the throw in here on the near sideline, Amy Bizup gets it in, trying to keep it in, Jessica Shue. Shue keeping the pressure on over midfield. Instead, Chris Black takes over for her. And it goes off a Westfield player, out of bounds. Nice job there. East Brunswick keeping possession of the ball. Throwing off the foot of Lisa Rabi. Looking to clear. Carrie Humphreys, the new substitution for Westfield. And Tortolot looked like she got a push on that last play there. No call going against her. She's been a tough player throughout the year. Again, in the sectional, the state semifinal, excuse me. Very tough match between Ridgewood and Westfield. And now a push goes against East Brunswick. They let the Tortolot ball slide through, so a good chance just outside the corner of the 18. Stepping over to take the kick for Westfield, it should be Elizabeth Capano, number 19. She's a fullback. Capano, the senior, gets up to the ball, puts it around the wall. Rolls out of bounds, though, untouched. So East Brunswick should clear. Although now, excuse me, I'm sorry, it looks like it may have been called to go off one of the East Brunswick players. And we should have a corner kick upcoming instead.
Second big chance for Westfield today. First time we saw when Laura Buttonbound lost control of the ball in the box earlier in the game, and now with just under 30 minutes left in the first half, came up with the free kick, and now Westfield has a corner kick. Number of opportunities early on in the game.
Lexi Tortolot takes the corner kick for the Lady Blue Devils. Off, out of bounds, off an East Brunswick player's foot. Once again, another corner kick. Tortolot already out there. Lexi Tortolot to take it. Jogging over towards her sister, Stacy Tortolot. Another sister combination, as we mentioned before, with East Brunswick players knowing each other pretty well on the field. There's got to be some connection between the Tortolot sisters, as Stacy now will take the corner kick.
You notice on your screen, Westfield is all outside the box. They opt to crash the box on the kick as opposed to clutter up the middle.
Waiting to get the ball to come back out, and that time keeping the ball in. Stacy Tortolot, she couldn't just get to it to get a nice shot off, but again, she jogged out after that corner kick and coming up again with the save there. As you see on the screen, Laura Buttenbaum sends up a high punt, and a player knocked down to the turf that time. Looks like the referees are letting a lot go, as that time a player knocked down by a fellow Westfield player. That time, Cheryl Krevsky doing the damage for her team.
Yeah, I agree with you. Certainly the referees are allowing the teams to play. They're not all over them. They figured you've had a whole season now. If it comes down to this, it shouldn't be the refs calling the game. It should be the players playing. But certainly as the game goes on, and if a score remains close, you know that there'll be more pushing. There'll be more physical play. You know the refs will be all over it.
So once again, on the early going here, somewhat early you could say, 27.5 minutes to go in the first half. 0-0 the score. Westfield on the attack in their visiting blue. East Brunswick trying to clear it out of the attacking third. Getting a foot on it that time before the Lady Bears was Amy Bizup, but it goes out, so you can see the throw in there. Coming up now by Cheryl Krevsky. Good defensive effort, Tamika Perez, but she knocks it out of bounds, and again the throw in for Westfield. Throw in taken by Carrie Humphreys. Raby trying to clear, instead knocks it back. Lisa Raby knocks it back, goes towards Lexi Tortolet, turns and gets a shot off. And that's one of the first really good shots this game so far for Westfield. A good chance there as Lexi just turned and let it fly. We've seen a lot of that throughout the years from her older sister Stacy. Lexi, of course, with a couple more years after this, you're going to be seeing a lot more of her in the future, especially if East Brunswick and Westfield come back to the state finals like they have this year. Good goal kick as Westfield trying to keep it back in. East Brunswick letting them play with it. So Chris Black sends it up. Taken by Deborah DiNicolo, nice through ball. And once again, Lisa Raby, she's been there all along the season and throughout her career. Why not play it to her today? And good through ball, good chance. And good open shot, Deborah DiNicolo, and it goes across and it's a goal! DiNicolo with the assist on that shot there. Very tough to see who even put it in. Jogging it wide open that time was an East Brunswick player. So they take the early 1-0 lead. 25-45 to go in the first half. East Brunswick on top, 1-0.
Certainly an important goal early on in the game. Now Westfield has to play catch-up where East Brunswick has the 1-0 advantage.
So now Westfield will take over and try to equalize things. As it's sent back down, coming down to Amy Korchak. As we mentioned, with a lot of pressure on her, it's been tough for her to keep the East Brunswick players out of her end. And that time she just had some bad luck.
That's true. You had said that just a few minutes ago. East Brunswick was putting a lot of pressure on Westfield and slowly ebbing away, and eventually they would score, and you were right, they did score within a matter of minutes. It's now Laura Buttenbaum in the backfield controlling the ball. No Westfield offender challenging her.
And Westfield has to have lost some momentum from that. They've been playing well. Got a nice shot by Alexi Tortolot earlier. But right now, they must be a little bit down 1-0 early on. So now Raby controls, Lisa Raby with the ball. And another good chance there, running it down that time, Deborah DiNicolo. We got it. And we're waiting as we finally found out the official word. We want to wait a little bit on that for the goal. Karen Bizup, number 23 for the East Brunswick Lady Bears, getting the goal. Put East Brunswick on top at 1-0 in the early going.
As you had mentioned earlier, Karen Bizup was one of the freshmen that has been on this team for 4 years, and she knows that there's no tomorrow. Like we said before, you got to put the ball in the back of the net because there's not another chance.
So now East Brunswick trying to keep some more pressure on in the early going. 23-45 to go in the first half, 1-0. The Bears on top. And a good save there on the first chance and the follow-up by Amy Korchak. You see her get the quick punt off, another high one up into the lights. Shoe there for East Brunswick, she can't control.
DiNicolo had an opportunity on that last loft into the box, but she was shielded out real well by the Westfield defender.
So now the throw-in for East Brunswick. Amy Bizup playing it now. Westfield looking to clear. Suzanne Folger with the ball. Back to Brooke Wiley, taken away. Defensive effort there by Chris Black. And Shu again knocks it off her head and it goes down. East Brunswick looking to keep it in the offensive third. Lisa Raby can't control. Now we have a whistle on that play. Stacy Tortolot was playing the ball off her head. It looks like it's going against East Brunswick. I would imagine a push would be called for that. A little bit questionable. We had seen them letting a little bit more slide before that. She was hardly touched on that last play, but a direct free kick does come for Westfield off the call of the push.
Certainly the intensity level in terms of physical play has picked up since that goal. Always a couple of minutes after goal, both teams, East Brunswick fired up, happy about putting the ball in the net. Westfield fired up, a little nervous about being behind. And certainly I think the physical intensity level has picked up over the last few minutes.
So now Westfield trying to rebound from being down to 1-0. Her intensity has picked up, as you mentioned, Scott. Trying to keep the ball a little bit more on the offensive third, but not really capitalizing now as East Brunswick looks to clear. Once again, Lisa Raby sends a long through ball. And it could be a good chance there as the Westfield defender loses her footing. Deborah DiNicolo tries to keep it in, but she's all alone there. And once again, Amy Korchak coming out of the net. Korchak again with the punt. Nobody there from Westfield. They're just having a little bit of trouble clearing tonight.
Yeah, Westfield has lost a number of 50-50 balls in the midfield off Korchak's punts. Could be the difference. As we've noted over the past few minutes, ball spent more time on the Westfield defensive half of the field, and I think one of the keys is that the midfield for Westfield is not winning the 50-50 balls.
So now East Brunswick off the direct free kick. Takes it down into the corner, looking to pick up yet another goal. They're up 1-0 right now. Jeannie Raby trying to center, and she just gets it off just over the end line, however, out of bounds. And we will see some substitutions coming into the game for Westfield. East Brunswick has yet to put a sub into the game, as Westfield now has two players stepping back onto the field. Alexi Tortolot and Melissa Long coming on for the first time. She's a junior fullback.
That certainly is a different face for East Brunswick. Anybody that follows East Brunswick girls soccer will know that over the years, Coach Lucosa has opted to go with mass substitutions a number of times throughout. He'll pull all his midfielders, he'll pull all his forwards, whereas Brian Merrigan has opted over the last few state games and also in the county games, I've noticed, to leave his players in for a longer period of time.
As they try to build a little bit more flow there, and they try once again as a shot taken by Deborah DiNicolo just goes wide. But as you're saying, Scott, it's true. A team does get a much more of a flow. Of course, you run the risk of having your team get a little bit more tired out if you leave them in too long. You might want to start pulling some players if they start missing traps, have a little bit of trouble out there. But if what's working out there on the field in terms of chemistry is right, there's no reason to change it. I guess Westfield saw the coach for Westfield, Pete Giordano, having a little bit of apprehension about how his team had been playing early on, letting up the early goal. Just over 15 minutes into the match, they're down 1-0. They do need to make some changes now.
If you were Coach Peter Giordano, what would you be telling your players now?
Right now, I'd just tell them it's still early on. You have a lot of time left in this game, but you've got to keep the intensity on, try to shut down East Brunswick a lot, and definitely look for some through balls to the Tortolots, Lexi as well as Stacy Tortolot, because those are the two keys they have been throughout the year. Just try to key them on the ball and get a chance. The more balls you play up in the end, there's no reason for them to break down.
It's definitely too early to panic.
Sure, it's only 19.5 right now left in the first half. Still have basically 3/4 of that game to go. Of course, high school soccer now played in the 240-man half format, formerly played with the 20-minute quarters. But either way, East Brunswick is still on top, 1-0. Once again, Lisa Raby looking to pick up a goal. She did not get the first one, as it was Karen Bizup with the first goal for the Lady Bears tonight. And there's a foul called, and as one of these Brunswick players goes down in the box, trying to see, it looks kind of like Deborah DiNicolo was there for that one. 3 Westfield players around here, but the call goes against East Brunswick. So it should be a direct kick coming out just outside the box for the Lady Blue Devils.
DiNicolo certainly is outsized down there in the box, but it doesn't seem to hinder her at all. Physical size doesn't make a difference. As we've seen over the years, she's aggressive to the ball, putting the ball in the net without being intimidated by some large goalies and some large defenders.
Sure, so you have a little bit of quickness, that's all it takes. A good example of that, if you look at collegiate soccer, Krista Ludo for Rutgers, one of the finer players in the Lady Knights program over a few years, a pretty small player by Division I standards, but using her quickness and just her skill with the ball, she's been able to pick up a number of goals and be an outstanding player. East Brunswick has some similar players in that respect, as you mentioned with Dina Cola. Maybe not the largest player out there in the field, maybe someone's outsized by some of those defenders, but she definitely gets the job done, as this whole East Brunswick squad has tonight. So we're still, we're 1-0 East Brunswick in the early going. They did pick up the lead just a few minutes back off a Karen Bizup goal. And now Westfield looking to counterattack, try to get on the board for the first time this evening. Lexi Tortolot gets the header off. But keeping it down there, Tomika Perez.
For the game, Brian Merrigan said he wasn't that concerned about the AstroTurf, but I think as we've seen tonight, his players aren't used to the AstroTurf. They've lost a lot of balls down as they were challenging the Westfield goal. They've lost a lot of balls that are a little faster than I expected, and you got to figure they've been playing all year on grass. It certainly has to be different. As we look to the World Cup, that seems to be a big point of contention. Is some games will be played at Rutgers and I believe Giant Stadium, but after some major renovations are made to turn Giant Stadium's AstroTurf field into a grass field.
Right, that's right. They may have to do it temporarily, but either way, that is what they've been thinking. Soccer purists think grass is the place to play, but right now, East Brunswick and Westfield playing out on the turf in their final game. Lisa Rabbia, a nice cross pass there, knocked out by Westfield, and the Blue Devils looking to counterattack. But once again, it's kept out as Shu and Perez were there for the Lady Bears. So there'll be a throw-in taken now. And getting over there, Amy Bizup, the sophomore. She gets off the rebound and tries to knock it back in. And some effort was made there by her sister Karen. She can't get to it, and it's knocked out of bounds. Looks like one off a Westfield defender's foot. Throw in for East Brunswick. G.D. Raby running over to get there, and we have a substitution into the game. And East Brunswick finally brings in its first sub. 16:08 left in the first half. 1-0, the Lady Bears on top of Westfield. And Allison Lowenstein, as the announcer at the Trenton State College Stadium says, enters the game for East Brunswick, the first substitution for the Lady Bears. They're on top 1-0.
So far, it seems as if play has been very evenly matched. East Brunswick up 1-0, but that certainly isn't an indicator that Westfield has been outplayed. East Brunswick came up with an opportunity, as East Brunswick comes up with another opportunity there. But Westfield's had their number of opportunities on the other end of the ball, and they're still in this game. It's not the 4-0 big win that East Brunswick had earlier in the season.
And as we mentioned beforehand, these teams are a little bit different. East Brunswick's gone through some growing pains and gone through a lot, doing it very well, going 22-0 for the year. Westfield, on the other hand, losing a few games early on. Of course, their record at 20-3, so they are not undefeated, but they have won 13 in a row right now. That streak is on the line. Right now, they're down 1-0. It'll be a little bit tough for them to keep it, but they've in Group 4 in general, though, it's been very tough, especially for Westfield. East Brunswick, the closest competition has been Madison Central, who they've beaten 4 times throughout the year. Madison Central ranked 10th in the state, and their record stands at 18-4. All of their losses to East Brunswick. Looking a little bit elsewhere in the state in Group 4, you have Holy Cross is the only Southern team in there at number 6. They lost, but elsewhere Ridgewood and Randolph at 8 and 9 respectively, and then Bridgewater Raritan, more from the northern half of the state. It seems to be where the stronger soccer has been played, so teams like Westfield and East Brunswick have been playing some tough competition throughout the year, and that should prepare them for a game like this.
As you had mentioned, East Brunswick defeated Madison Central 4 times this year in the GMCs and at the state level, twice during the regular season. And that certainly is a tough accomplishment for any club, no matter how good you are, to come out and win 4 times against the club, like you had mentioned, that's 10th ranked in the Star Ledger top 20 girls soccer poll.
As we have another chance, Lisa Raby running it down. Nice move to cut it back, and it's got a cross streaking through the middle. Allison Lowenstein, looks like she might have been held off. Maybe a handball people were hoping for as the referee signals play on. Back on the field, but East Brunswick bringing it in once again.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I thought that was a handball on the Westfield defender. She came out quick to hit it with her chest, but it appeared to have bounced off her arm, and as you know, anywhere on the arm from shoulder to fingertip is a handball. But I think it may be that would have given East Brunswick a penalty kick, and the refs are a little hesitant for a state game to come down to a penalty kick.
There's now a good chance for East Brunswick as we're running it down. Jeannie Raby, she's called for the dangerous play that time. That's a pretty weak call. To be blatant about it, I'd have to say there's no one really around her. You have a Westfield defender on her back, but nobody's there that she's endangering by putting her foot up high in the air to kick it. So you get indirect free kick coming out for the Blue Devils now. Just a tough break there as Jeannie Raby just couldn't control it at first and lost the handle on the ball. So now it's cleared by Westfield. They're trying to get out of the offensive third that East Brunswick's kept it in all game. As Stacy Tortolet saves the ball and sends it up, and it's going into the corner. And now it's Lexi Tortolet right in the center. But the save made, and once again, Laura Buttonbaum there. No real danger as Stacy Tortolet, that is, when she got the ball, she went out of bounds and kind of lost her footing. You couldn't see that. But she did fall down, so you lose a player on the field. And once again, the turf is tough for that reason. So now the throw-in for Westfield. Carrie Humphreys with the ball, clearing it out for East Brunswick. Tamika Perez. 12-10 left in the first half. 1-0 your score. East Brunswick over Westfield. This is the state Group 4 final game if you've just joined us. And it's been a good one so far, rather evenly matched. East Brunswick getting the first goal of the match with about 24:30 left to go in the first half. Karen Bizup with the score for the Bears. So now Jeannie Raby controls on the right side for East Brunswick. Kept in that time. Nila Colo running it down. Karen Bizup looking for her second goal of the game. Just misses getting it as coming out off her line, Amy Korchak. Korchak again playing very strong, one of the finer goalkeepers in the state. She's really shown that in the last few games. And again tonight, a tough goal to give up. As now we have a push out in the center of the field. The intensity of the game has been picked up a little bit. Just over 10 minutes to go. We have 11:15 exactly. 1-0 East Brunswick on top. But now's the time Westfield does have to try to get the offensive pressure on a little bit more and get a goal.
You have to think that Coach Peter Giordano would be much happier heading into the halftime with a tie score. It's tough to come back after the first half down 1-0.
Now Lisa Raby makes the turn but can't hold the ball. And it's knocked out. Running it down near side, Tamika Perez. Trying to get to it was Chris Black for East Brunswick, and Black knocked to the turf. There's a call there. A pretty good call, I have to say. Maybe a little more conciliatory than anything else. And it will be a trip, I believe that was called by the referee. So East Brunswick now has a direct kick chance coming. Pretty far out, though, not really in shooting range so much. It's about a good 45 yards out of the goal, as you can see by the football lines on the field. But a nice chance to put a through ball over the top, perhaps, for East Brunswick to add to their 1-0 lead.
There you see Carlos Swartz coming up from the sweeper position to take the kick.
And Swartz sends a dandy, just not high enough and a little bit too close to the Westfield players. They're looking to clear. Once again, having a little trouble doing so. And a good chance running out into the middle. Karen Bizup comes out nowhere, not to the ball, just misses getting there. Puts some pressure on. Lisa Raby controls in the corner.
Got Debbie DiNicolo on the far side if someone could loft the ball into the middle of the box.
So now kept in. Perez has it knocked away. A good job keeping it in that time by Chris McLaughlin, and it's running. It's a 50-50 ball, and just getting there first that time. Goalkeeper Amy Korchak for Westfield. Lisa Raby was right on her tail, almost got to the ball. Just a little bit out of her reach, though. Another good chance. East Brunswick has really been controlling the pace of the game now over the last 2 minutes. It had been a little bit more even earlier on, but right now it's been more in favor of the Bears. They've had more of the chances, and they do hold the 1-0 lead as we're under 10 minutes to go in the first half. Lexi Tortolat looking to keep it in, knocked off her arm, no call. Nancy Schultz trying to keep it. And now we have a call. It looks like it should be a handball called against East Brunswick. So now a direct free kick upcoming for Westfield. This is one of their first chances to get an offensive attack in the attacking third of the field.
Westfield seems to be holding a lot of their players back. And when East Brunswick's on the attack, they have more players up. They have more players up on the other half of the field. If you look at the field now, Westfield has 3 players in the backfield, fewer players up in the offensive third.
Now, I would think there should have been a call there as well as Westfield players from the back finally started coming up, getting on the back of the East Brunswick player. No call. Perez looking to clear. She does get up, and Lisa Raby, excuse me, using her body, a nice way to get it as she sends across towards Karen Bizup, taken down outside the box, and a shot, and just missed getting a goal there. East Brunswick got another good chance. We're trying to see who that was exactly.
That was Deborah DiNicolo.
That's right.
She's been in the middle, in the middle of the field almost the whole game, waiting for service into her, and she's had a number of opportunities tonight, and I think if she keeps taking those shots, she's going to get one, as she did in the Holy Cross game just this past Tuesday night, which got them here.
So now a substitution into the game for East Brunswick. Tina Karzima steps to the field, number 11, and going off to the sideline, Chris Black, number 6, the junior midfielder. Karzima, a senior, listed as a fullback, but looks like she's playing a little bit more of an offensive role tonight. We'll see exactly where she's put by Coach Brian Merrigan. As with the ball, once again, Buttonbaum gets off a nice kick. That goes just short of midfield.
There you see Westfield not even challenging East Brunswick with the 50-50 balls, and I think that's one of the keys to East Brunswick dominating at this current point in time. As I said before, on both ends, more so I had noticed when Amy Korchek was clearing out the ball. East Brunswick was coming up there again. There's another example. East Brunswick is coming up with the 50-50 balls. They're challenging while Westfield is watching.
And anybody that's been playing soccer and knows soccer knows the key to winning a game for the most part is winning the 50-50 balls. East Brunswick's done that all along. And right there we saw a good chance. Lisa Raby was wide open on the side, just couldn't get the ball on the far side. But Westfield having some trouble clearing once again. Finally getting a foot on it that time for the Blue Devils was Christy McGovern. And she gets it up to her teammate Susan McCloy, but McCloy can't get it in. So once again, East Brunswick retains possession. The through ball looking to run down. You can see in your screen on the near sideline is Amy Bizup. Just can't get there. Instead, goalkeeper Amy Korchak is there for Westfield. Yeah, she sends up the punt. Stacy Tortolot looking to get it. The main offensive weapon for Westfield has been shut down so far. We haven't really seen much of her at all. Lexi Tortolot, her younger sister, did get a shot off, just off the 18. But nothing from Stacy. East Brunswick knows that's one of the keys to winning this game, and they've been able to do that so far.
Certainly, as I said earlier, I'd spoken with Brian Merrigan before the game, and he said that the keys to Westfield are the Tortolot sisters. They have to neutralize them. And East Brunswick's been doing a good job of that thus far.
So now we're getting towards the end of the first half, 5:50 to go. A through ball there knocked away by East Brunswick. It's rolling back up towards midfield. Lisa Raby running it down, just can't get there. As we'll have two more subs step onto the field for Westfield. Jessica Zara, another freshman on the field, a halfback, along with Abigail Bomba. She's a junior halfback also on the field. So in the midfield, Westfield making a number of substitutions. Their team's got to be rather worn out. As we mentioned, 2 shootout games earlier in the week to get to the state final. Of course, if you have the shootout, you also have the overtime, so you're playing more than regulation.
You had just mentioned that a second freshman stepped in for Westfield, and you have to figure that that's just invaluable playing time. There's nothing better than to give a freshman a few minutes in a game that's so important. You know it's going to pay off down the road.
So that's what makes the team be built as strongly as it is. Of course, as we mentioned so many times, with East Brunswick, that's the way it's been with Lisa Raby, Karen Bizup, and DiNicolo. They've been around so long, it seems like they've been here forever. They're finally playing in their last game, but getting that experience in that freshman year is really what helps make a player so much better and step above and become part of a #1 team in the state. Now East Brunswick looking to clear again. Raby being hounded from behind, that time by Melissa Long. Lisa Raby gives it up once again to Karen Bizup. She can't get there, but Raby making a good effort to get it in, and she looks to send that through a ball. East Brunswick had some pressure up there, but they looked like they might have been offsides. Westfield trying the offsides trap.
Yeah, it did appear as if Debbie DiNicolo was temporarily offsides, but she didn't get the call as there was no through ball sent to her. But again, as I mentioned before, Westfield seems to be crashing down on Raby, and DiNicolo has had a number of opportunities on the far side open. If a ball could be lofted out to her, I think we could see a goal out of her before this night's over.
So now Jeannie Raby took that throw in there for East Brunswick. Trying to keep the ball in. In the corner was Deborah DiNicolo. She lets it roll out of bounds, and once again off the AstroTurf, a little bit of a tough roll for her at that time. But Westfield now trying to clear, having a little bit of trouble, especially getting late in the half now. 3:46 and rolling left in the first half. 1-0 East Brunswick on top. East Brunswick just has to try to keep the shutout going in towards halftime. Now the ball played in the middle once again by Westfield, looking over towards the right side towards Brooke Riley. The sophomore does get to it. Trying to keep it in, Melissa Long, the new substitution. And she looked a little rusty out there as Lisa Raby took it off her feet. Amy Bizup with the effort, and a nice play there by Amy Bizup as looks like she knocked it off the Westfield player and gets the call for the throw. And she stepped off the ball actually at first. Didn't realize she had gotten the call, but she did there. So East Brunswick once again with the ball. Now we're at 3 minutes exactly to go in the first half, 1-0 to score.
It's very minor things like that early in the game that you don't think of later on when your team is down. That is a contributing factor in a victory as that ball just bounced off a Westfield player and went out. East Brunswick got the call. You know, a team of less caliber may not have fought as hard, as long.
So we saw in that last play there, a little bit of a tough pass back. Laura Buttenbaum had to make somewhat of a diving save off the turf as she wasn't expecting it to roll so fast. Neither were her teammates who passed the ball back to her, but she did get the save and knocked the ball up. But Westfield now looking to attack once again, but again, nobody's there for them on this play. So East Brunswick can just play it right back to Buttenbaum. She can take her time now. You're just over 2 minutes. You want to try to get the ball out of the Westfield offensive third. Just clear it long and not let them get a chance to get a goal, because right now you want to keep that lead. Don't want to go into halftime, you know, tied up if you had the lead most of the half.
Right, it certainly has a big advantage to go in at halftime. And as you noted on that last pass back, the Westfield offenders aren't there crashing the net. And I think Laura Buttenbaum has had more saves from pass backs on Carla Schwartz than she has on the opposing team taking shots on her tonight.
So now Westfield looking to keep it in. Having a little trouble doing so. East Brunswick right on there, crossed that time by Brooke Wiley. Schwartz steps up once again from the sweeper position, trying to clear. And now push on the back there, it looked like, but no call made. Westfield gets in, it's a high shot going towards the goal, but just drops in time. Right into the hands of the waiting Laura Buttenbaum. So she'll take over, might well take a little bit more time now, as we mentioned, 1:20 to go in the half. It's kind of hard for her to see the time with her back to the scoreboard right now. She's got a good job either way. East Brunswick's clear. Lisa Raby through ball to Dina Colo. Back to Raby. She's got time. She gets the shot off one time. And with just over a minute to go, she had a good chance there. It's kind of hard for her to say to hold on to that ball and put it down with two defenders on you. She might have tried to do that, but she did get the shot off right away, and that's, again, a testament to her talent, being able to get the shot off. Of course, it went wide, didn't get the goal. But Lisa Raby, with some composure, with two players hounding her, able to get a shot off and get a good chance for East Brunswick.
Certainly, you don't become the East Brunswick leading scorer and the East Brunswick all-time career leading scorer by wasting opportunities like that. It was an excellent shot. She couldn't have stopped. She couldn't have taken another dribble, or Westfield would have been all over her. And we have a trip there on the field. East Brunswick with a real good opportunity, about 35 yards out.
So now with just about 25 seconds to go, East Brunswick rushes a little bit too much and has the ball knocked out. So that might about wrap it for the half. Westfield trying to clear. Lexi Toralot with the ball, has it taken off her foot. So Westfield looking to get one last push right here. 10 seconds to go.
If East Brunswick comes back, as it appears if they're going to, with a 1-0 lead in the second half, you had noted before the Laura Buttenbaum has the clock to her back, and that will be a big advantage for East Brunswick to be able to watch the clock. You know they're not only going to be playing Westfield the next half, but Westfield is going to be playing the clock.
Right, as now there will be only 40 minutes left to go in regulation time in the game as the first half has reached its conclusion. East Brunswick on top, 1-0 over Westfield. We're going to take a quick look back at what transpired in the first half. Only one goal scored as the game started out pretty evenly, but that first goal,
as you said, it was a very even game, and then with about 24:30 left in the first half, Karen Bizup got the cross and put it in the back of the net, and it certainly is a big help for East Brunswick right now to go into the halftime with a 1-0 lead. And as we just said, it's 1-0 East Brunswick, and we hope you'll stay tuned as we'll be back with the second half action in just a minute.
As you see on your screen, Karen Bizup, the goal scorer for East Brunswick, the only scoring so far in this match between East Brunswick and Westfield. We're getting ready for the start of the second half. The teams have switched sides, and East Brunswick again in their home whites with the green trim going from left to right. Westfield in the visiting royal blue on the right side of your screen going towards the left. We're getting set. We have 40 minutes to go on the clock. That's all that's left in regulation time in this game. East Brunswick just wants to add to this lead now or just hold on, and they win their state championship. So now the kickoff taken Bizup sends it through towards Lisa Raby. Just can't get there, but we're underway now. And as we were thinking before we came back on here, it's true. It's once you get back onto the field at the second half, all East Brunswick has to do now is just hold this lead and try to add to it. Now for Westfield, this strategy is a little bit different. What would you think you'd be doing now if you're Peter Giordano?
Well, certainly you got to tell the girls they got a lot of time left. I mean, 40 minutes, but one ball on the goal is just an eternity. Westfield is used to being in this situation. As we have discussed, Westfield has played to ties on their last 2 games to get them here today, and they can't panic. They got to keep their heads in it, and here's an excellent opportunity for them, a corner kick, and as you see, they're crashing the box from the outside and not clustering up in the middle.
So Stacy Tortolat took that kick, just knocked away by East Brunswick. Good job, as her sister Lexi was on the goalkeeper, and that time getting to the ball was Karen Bizup, and she clears it over midfield for Lisa Raby. Deborah DiNicola open up in the middle, just can't get the through ball. Now she's a little bit offsides, has to come back, try to play it. Westfield tries to clear. Antonio Lafredo has it knocked away, and it's cleared upfield.
Tell you one thing that Westfield has to do, well, they can't panic, they have to concentrate more, and they can't afford to make any mistakes now. While every minute isn't crucial, they got to watch. They can't miss traps. They got to run to the 50-50 balls. They can't sacrifice losing anything. And
we just saw on this last play here, East Brunswick had a good chance. Of course, they were called for the offsides, but Westfield, if they let them slip through, give them a couple more yards, space, but they get that break, they're going to be going right in the open, and East Brunswick will have an easy chance to pick up a second goal, add to his lead, and try to put it out of reach. But once again, as you mentioned, East Brunswick, of course, having little trouble getting here, going 22-0. Westfield, on the other hand, their last couple of games going to the shootout. In fact, in the state semifinal game against Ridgewood actually scored first in the first overtime period. Westfield tied it up with 6 seconds to go in that first overtime period. Of course, they will have played 2 overtimes either way, but to get that with just a few seconds left was a testament that Westfield wasn't letting down then, as they can't do right now. So now Westfield trying to get some more offensive pressure on. A nice through ball sent that time, but it will be saved once again by Laura Buttenbaum, the senior goalkeeper. As her punt is kept in by Westfield. Looking cross field for Folger. Suzanne Folger can't control the ball. Swartz steps up. Nice play, clearing the ball out for the Bears. Goes up towards Dina Colo. She turns, gives the through ball up to Jeannie Raby. Nice ball work there as Lisa Raby running it down that time. But East Brunswick strung together a nice series of passes. Dina Colo to Gina Raby. And then the through ball sent up towards Lisa Raby. She just couldn't finish it there. But East Brunswick really establishing themselves now. They've gotten into a good groove as we have about 36 minutes left. Just under 37, in fact, left to go in the match. East Brunswick on top 1-0, but they're looking very confident now, looking to pick up the state title.
Certainly in that last series, as you said, you saw the skill of East Brunswick. They took their time, they set up all their passes. They weren't able to put the ball in the back of the net, but I think that's partially due, in fact, you saw Amy Korchek out of the goal again, as we've seen all night. She's quick out of that goal. She didn't even wait to grab with her hand. She was on or about the 18-yard line, didn't want to take a chance. She kicked it out of bounds.
So now East Brunswick, as you see, with a chance here to get the ball up over midfield. Looking to clear. A nice relaxed play there by Chris Black. Didn't panic with a defender on her. Got over midfield. Lisa Raby looks for the through ball, trying to get towards Deborah DiNicola. Once again, just out of reach. Knocked back by Brooke Wiley to the goalkeeper, Amy Korchak. And it's cleared up, and that time looks like one of the East Brunswick players knocked off the ball. So Westfield gets a break as Lexi Tornalot running it down in the corner. Carla Swartz controls.
See the maturity of Carla Swartz, not panicking, lets the ball roll out of bounds, and you have to also think in the back of East Brunswick's mind, every time that ball's out of bounds, that's more running time that Westfield can't tie this game up. They're in no hurry to put this ball into play. If it rolls out of bounds, even if they have to sacrifice losing the ball downfield, it's probably a wise move if they could eat some time off the clock. As you see Carla Swartz taking her time, setting up exactly where she wants it. She's in no hurry.
As there is a lot of time left, 35-22 to go in the match. 1-0 East Brunswick on top. And what could have been a good chance there for Westfield, squelched by a nice second effort there in the middle of the field by Jessica Shue. Gets the ball off on her second chance to clear it. Folger controls as a knocked back by Jeannie Raby. And taking over, Karen Bizup. She sends another through ball for Elisa Rabi. She's on, tripped up a little bit. No call, play on called. As she still keeps it in. Gets the corner kick, but that's really tough there. I wouldn't call that a no call almost. If I was a referee out there in the field, she lost the advantage. However, the referee signaled she still had it. I don't know, Scott.
She certainly had the faster legs to that ball. She was on the move quick, and I personally couldn't see where there was any contact between the two players. Maybe, I mean, I wouldn't swear to it, but maybe she just lost her footing. She's moving very quick, and as we know before, AstroTurf is different than playing on grass. Guess the ref was close. He opted not to make the call. East Brunswick still has the advantage with a corner kick.
So now, once again, they're trying to get in. Just losing it. Knocked out of bounds by Westfield. Not upfield, excuse me, not out of bounds. It's still in play. Shu keeps it in. And it's knocked up. Can't get there.
Look like two East Brunswick players offsides. And, again, not such a bad problem for East Brunswick. They get caught offsides, and now you see dead ball time rolling off. They just picked up another 15, 20 seconds, and it may sound petty, especially when you're talking about there's still almost 34 minutes left in the game, but every second that ball is stopped is going to be one less second Westfield could put it in the back of East Brunswick's net.
So now Westfield looking to attack once again. Stacy Tortola tries to keep it in, gives to Lexi. She can't get to it. Lisa Rabi with the ball for the Bears.
East Brunswick seems to have been controlling since they've come out after the first half. I would have thought that Westfield would have come out with a lot of intensity, playing from a 1-0 deficit. East Brunswick just looking to keep control, but it doesn't appear that way to me. East Brunswick has controlled the ball most of the second half. The ball spent a great deal of time down in Westfield's defensive third. And East Brunswick hasn't wasted too many passes. As you see now, they're stringing together a series of short, very well-anticipated passes.
And a high ball sent in. We have a whistle as the save is made by Laura Buttonbaugh, but offsides is called. Looks to be about 30 yards out on the 20-yard line of the football field. You have the 10-yard end zone, of course, so that's a 30 yards out on the field. East Brunswick, though, once again called for offsides, but you don't mind that, especially since they're up 1-0. They're just trying to add to the lead. They can't afford to get caught up too far and let Westfield get back in the game, but right now they definitely have the advantage. They're up 1-0, 32-40 to go in the game, and they're showing no signs of letting down.
No, and Westfield certainly isn't showing signs of picking up very quickly. They're not concerned about the clock yet, and they shouldn't be, needless to say, with 32 minutes left.
And now Stacy Tortola with her first good chance of the game. She's taken down hard. It almost looked like, though, she wasn't really taken down so much as she ran into the back of Swartz. Carla Swartz, the sweeper for East Brunswick, really had position on her. And that's somewhat of a questionable call, you'd have to say, as she's still down the turf now, Stacy Tortola. She has been the big offensive weapon for Westfield throughout the year. Tonight, she hasn't done so much so far. That was really one of her first good chances. So for East Brunswick, they have to keep neutralizing her and not let her get a chance like this. And now it's pretty dangerous. They have a direct kick about 22 yards out on the corner of the penalty box. So now the kick taken, and it's shot just off the crossbar. And the follow-up shot, trying to keep in with the original shot that time for Westfield. It looked like Lori Chelius, and she just couldn't get it down enough.
Very big opportunity for Westfield. Another few inches down lower, and this would be a tie game, and you don't know how many more chances like that Westfield's going to get tonight.
So now Chelius keeps it in. Excuse me, it was Capano before that. Elizabeth Capano with the shot off the crossbar. She was just holding her head a minute ago. Can't believe she missed by a couple inches. And that's tough. That's why East Brunswick has to try to add to their lead. One play like that, and your Westfield's back in the game tied up. You're only up 1-0, 31 minutes to go. The longer you let Westfield stay in this game, the more chance there is they're going to pick it up and get a goal. And right now they get a corner kick off of that play. Lexi Tortola over to take it. But East Brunswick in the last couple of minutes suddenly has kind of withdrawn a little bit more and had a little bit more trouble clearing the ball.
Yeah, Westfield has kept the ball down in their offensive third for the last about 3 to 4 minutes, and they're threatening.
So they crash once again. Coming out of the goal, Buttonbaum. She gets a hand on it. She's out of her goal, but it's saved that time. It looked like Jessica Shue got to it first for East Brunswick.
Yeah, that was a very big play by Jessica Shue. She came up with the header and cleared it out while Buttonbaum was down. There was an open net there, and Westfield comes up with another opportunity, but again comes up short.
So Shue, the stopper, a senior, able to clear the ball. She's knocked from behind on that play. No call. As Stacy Tortola showing some toughness. That's all I've seen her play, though, tonight so far. As most of you have seen also, she hasn't had very many chances. She's just been knocking into the players a lot. Got the call one time, but hasn't really shown much offensive pressure for Westfield. that's one of the reasons they haven't put any points on the board yet so far.
Yeah, that's an excellent observation. Coach Merrigan said earlier, like I had previously said, the key to tonight's victory, or one of the keys, I should say, is neutralizing the Tour-de-Lot sisters. And East Brunswick's been successful at that.
So Carla Swartz that time with a rare mistake. She knocks the ball out, misses the header, and then is forced to head it over the end line out of bounds. So another corner kick upcoming for Westfield. And once again, East Brunswick has to try to clear a little bit better now. They can't afford to let down at this point in the game. 29.5 to go, 1-0 to score. They don't want Westfield to get back in this game by getting a tie right here. Lexi Tour-de-Lot with the corner kick, headed out by Swartz. Goes straight up and not out of bounds. And it goes over the sideline, the touch line instead. Jeannie Raby got there for East Brunswick. And now the throw-in upcoming. Lexi Tour-de-Lot drops the ball, and it goes in favor of her teammate, Antonio Lofredo. But the throw-in knocked away by defender. And almost a missed trap there. Lori Chelius again with it. She sends it up the sideline, out of bounds, off Jeannie Raby's foot. Throw-in coming up again for Westfield. Antonio Lofredo takes it into the middle. Swartz steps up, gets a foot on it, tries to clear. Foot race now. 50-50 ball, not really won by anyone. Not getting there first, though, knocking the ball away was Christy McGovern. I guess you could say she wins it. But that time, it's sent across to the other side of the field. Lisa Raby trying to keep it in. Knocked out of bounds off a Westfield player's foot. So now East Brunswick trying to change the tide once again. Now they're over midfield. They have a chance to add to the 1-0 lead.
In the last few minutes, Westfield has been ebbing away at East Brunswick. And earlier in the first half, you correctly had noted that East Brunswick was pressuring Westfield, and you said they keep up this pressure, they're bound to score soon. Now could be the other way. Westfield's been putting a lot of pressure on. They had 3 corner kicks, I believe. They had a free kick just outside the box, and this could be the exactly the opposite of what you called earlier.
As it wouldn't be much for East Brunswick. It wouldn't be good for them to let down and let that happen. But right now, they're trying to stem the tide as Carla Swartz running the ball down in the corner, knocked from behind. Surprising there was no call that time. The only call given is a corner kick. So another chance, as you mentioned, Scott, for East Brunswick. For East Brunswick, they scored upon. It's more like it as Westfield has the chance to take this kick. Lexi Tour-de-Lot with the corner kick opportunity. Her sister Stacy, the main offensive weapon, is coming from outside the 18. And it goes into the middle. A head on it. That time, again, the player just missed before, Elizabeth Capano. But it goes out of bounds, goal kick. And we have 2 substitutions into the game for Westfield. And we will have Stephanie Duras, a sophomore halfback, along with Kerry Humphreys, who has seen some time earlier in the game, also a sophomore halfback as well, both onto the field for Peter Giordano's squad.
And I guess, as we noted earlier when a number of freshmen came on, both players that just came on are sophomores. And can't overstate the fact that this is excellent playing time for underclassmen. If Westfield can't come away with this win, you know they're going to be back and threatening in future years with all this invaluable playing time that underclassmen have been getting.
So now another good chance for Westfield, but picked up easily by Laura Buttenbaum. She'll look to punt it out. Paul Griegel and Scott White here at Trenton State College. If you've just joined us, this is the New Jersey State Group 4 final for girls soccer. East Brunswick is on top, 1-0 over Westfield. Just under 26.5 minutes to go in the game. East Brunswick looking to apply some more offensive pressure as Lisa Raby running it down on the far sideline. Hasn't knocked away, but the Bears will try to keep it in. Blue Devils instead look to clear. Over midfield, nice job back there on defense by Perez. Knocks it over, it's a through ball, no offsides call. Raby runs it down, she wins the ball. Keeper's drawn out. Shot in, a big save. Amy Korchak, once again, we've said it a lot, coming off her line. Just doing a stupendous job back there in the net for Westfield. Without her, this team's going to be down a few more goals. She's really held this team in the game single-handedly. But again, as we mentioned in the first half, if she breaks down or if the team lets them keep coming down, eventually East Brunswick will score again and take a bigger lead than the 1-0 one they already have.
Certainly, Amy Korchak is a senior, and
oh, Jeannie Raby that time. Not to interrupt your point, but somehow off a loose ball. Got a shot off, just missed by a yard. But once again, a good chance for East Brunswick.
the tide has changed quickly. But as I was saying, Amy Korchak is a senior, and she sorely will be missed, as this is her final high school game. You correctly noted she's kept this team in it. It certainly could be a 2-3 or 4-0 deficit with many other goalkeepers in the net.
So now East Brunswick trying to get that pressure on they had in the first half, and earlier this half, Lisa Raby crosses to Karen Bizup. Offsides called against East Brunswick. That time, Dina Colo whistled for the infraction. Indirect free kick upcoming for Westfield.
Again, even though she was offsides, Dina Colo has been open a number of times tonight. I think if anyone looks back at the tape on this game and sees how Lisa Raby's been double-teamed a number of times tonight, Dina Colo's been the open girl on the outside to go to.
That's a correct observation, as Lisa Raby's been the name that everyone that watches East Brunswick has known about for a number of years. Dina Colo, of course, getting a lot of goals this year and doing a good job, but not getting the recognition. So if you leave her open, it's good chances. There's a save there, and a shot again. Oh, and the save again. Not by the goalie. Shot. Play on. Just saved at the goal line. East Brunswick defense coming up with a huge series of plays. It looked like Shue, once again, Jessica Shue stepping back from the stopper role, covering for sweeper Carla Swartz. And 3 chances there for Westfield to tie it up. East Brunswick just wouldn't die. They wouldn't let it happen. On the original one, Laura Buttenbaum got there first. But Jessica Shue and the rest of the defensive unit draws a well-deserved round of applause from their fans.
Yes, and a decent East Brunswick crowd on hand tonight. But as you noted, there is something that could be looked on later. If East Brunswick goes down winning 1-0 as a key in this game, Westfield could have broken open. Again, you see Buttenbaum out of the net as she came out last time. Wasn't able to come up with the last one, but a very strong defense held tough for her. Not only in a lot of games you saw Carla Swartz taking control of that backfield, but tonight Jessica Shue has been back there making a number of open goal saves, using her head and using the remainder of her body, and those have been very, very big saves for East Brunswick tonight.
So once again, as you mentioned, some people might forget about that. As now on the left side, Folger with the ball for Westfield. Buttenbaum calls off Swartz. Again, the teamwork between the two are working there. Takes her time, gets the punt. But as we mentioned, though, that is a good chance there for Westfield to score. East Brunswick squelches that. You might forget it later in the game. You know, you remember who scores the goal, of course. Bizup with the goal in the first half. That might go on to be the game winner, or whoever scores the game winner is usually remembered the most. But defensive efforts of players like Jessica Shue are what really makes a game. Without that kind of effort, the second and third effort that was made there, it's a 1-1 ball game.
Exactly. As I had said earlier, Giordano said that there is no real standouts on East Brunswick, that he's concerned about the entire team, and you've seen it tonight. You haven't seen anyone controlling the game. You've seen a number of leaders on the field, no doubt about it, as you always will, but you don't see a superstar for East Brunswick. This team plays as a team. They play as a unit. They've been together for a while. They know what to expect from one another, and they all share in the responsibilities. Looks like some pushing up in the box there. No call from the referee. That one will roll out of bounds. And that's the 2 number 10s there. Carla Swartz, the sweeper for East Brunswick, and the stars. We're talking about stars here. Stacy Tortolot for Westfield. She's really been shut down effectively. Of course, the sweeper shouldn't have been marking there. Swartz, though, did pick up the mark. Hadn't been marking her throughout the game, but just gets there. And as she'd done a couple of times earlier, to stay tough against her. Maybe a push going either way, but some really tough-nosed soccer played on both sides. And Swartz is able to draw the goal kick, once again showing why she's one of the finer sweepers in the state. 21:45 to go. 1-0 your score. East Brunswick on top of Westfield. The Bears trying to get chances. Dina Cola open in the center of the field. Running it down on the far side was Karen Bizup. She couldn't get to it. Westfield clears, but Dina Cola, as you've mentioned a lot before, Scott, it was wide open there. And East Brunswick just has to look up and get it to her. There you go. If you look right now, there was the opportunity. Dina Cola wasn't able to take that one down, but she was goal side on that one. Had she been able to turn around and connect on that one, that certainly could have been a big goal for East Brunswick. Something that we have failed to acknowledge as well, Dina Cola isn't the leading goal scorer. According to the count that we have, Dina Cola is leading the Bears in assists, and that certainly helps the team.
And she's looking to try to get another one here. She can't do it. Looking for Raby, can't get it to her. It's cleared out. Keeping it in for East Brunswick, Chris Black. Black sends a through ball and taken down in the process. Play on, not called by the referee. Jeannie Raby running it down. Saves it with one defender on her. Playing tough. Tries to cut back, just can't do it. Westfield looks to clear. Good job there. Karen Bizup knocks it off the foot of a Westfield player. Stephanie Duras that time has it knocked out of bounds off her foot. Throw in for the Lady Bears.
Just to digress for 1 minute, if we go back to that last series about 2 minutes ago where Jessica Shue came up big on the save, I guess that's one of the reasons East Brunswick has only given up 3 goals all season. It's something that's overlooked. That, as we noted earlier, East Brunswick comes in with 20 shutouts, and you don't do that behind a. You do that certainly with a good goalie, but it isn't only a goalie that brings you 20 shutouts.
Yeah, that's just an unbelievable number. As up in other parts of the state, you're not going to hear that too much. But Lisa Raby now with a chance to add to the lead. Just misses wide. Good chance, about 20 minutes to go. 3/4 of the way through this game now. 1-0 as Westfield will substitute en masse. But as we said, though, teams like Westfield, Ridgewood, Randolph, all the other Group 4 teams further north in the state have a little bit of trouble picking up so many shutouts. They're playing a lot of really tough opponents throughout the year. East Brunswick, of course, a very strong squad, but they don't face on a regular basis the same number of tough opponents. Of course, Madison Central is one of the tougher ones. They play Holy Cross and some other tough teams. But to get 20 shutouts is just an unbelievable number. They're looking to add to that to pick up their school record 21st shutout for the year.
Yeah, I think that's something we touched on earlier.
As once again, Raby with a chance. She gets a shot. Another huge save. Unbelievable. Amy Korchak single-handedly once again keeping it in there. Don't mean to cut you off there, Scott, but that's just, you know, Lisa Raby doing what she does best, creating something out of nothing. But then Amy Korchak for Westfield, I can't say enough about her now. She's shown it tonight. She's shown it before.
You can see the smile and happiness on her face from that one. That was a huge save, keeping Westfield in this game. And spoke about Jessica Shue down the other end. It was Jessica Shue that was up there on the follow-up shot for East Brunswick on the offensive side of the field.
And the ball rolls out of bounds as it goes past Antonio Lafredo. But I have to tell you, it's got to be a good feeling for Amy Korchak. Win or lose in this game for Westfield, she's done a great job, as well as she has throughout her career. The same will be for all the East Brunswick players, of course. It'd be nice for them if they go out with the win. But either way, if you've played so much and just do your best tonight, even if she lets up that one goal, that's just got to be such a great feeling. I mean, a little upsetting, of course, that she couldn't have picked up the win. But she's really held her team in this. And just knowing that's her last game, she's really giving it all of her effort she can, sacrificing her body, coming off the line the whole time. And now Tortolot with the ball. Stacey Tortolot, the big offensive gun for Westfield, sent the through ball, looking for the give and go. Trying to get to it, Susan McCloy for Westfield. She hasn't knocked out of bounds. Nice defensive effort there as Stacey Tortolot was marked in the center, couldn't get the give and go pass. McCloy couldn't give it back to her. Now the ball will roll out of bounds off East Brunswick. Throwing for Westfield. Stepping over to take it, Brooke Wiley. Wiley with the throw, trying to get there to make the clear to Mika Perez. Now it's kept in by Westfield, a cross taken. Susan McCloy once again rolls out of bounds over the end line. So once again, a goal kick for East Brunswick. Now with 17:35 to go in the match. As we mentioned before, they're trying to waste a little bit more time by getting more goal kicks and other dead ball situations, and they've done a good job of that so far. 1-0 the score. East Brunswick on top of Westfield. The girls' Group 4 state final. Now Jeannie Raby trying to take the ball away. She saves off the turf, rolls a little too fast, and has it knocked back towards Antonio Lafredo. East Brunswick takes over. Dina Colo with the ball. Sends up once again to Lisa Raby. 3 players around her and nobody for East Brunswick. Dina Colo trying to get up there after making the original pass. Just was a little bit too far behind to start. Couldn't get the through ball. So it will go all the way back to Amy Korchak. Korchak sends her punt towards midfield. Westfield trying desperately now to get some pressure. They still have some time, but they can't wait too much longer now to get a goal. 16:45 to go in the match. 1-0 the lead for East Brunswick. Lisa Raby running it down. One defender on her. Melissa Long getting there first for Westfield. Knocks it out of bounds over the touchline. Throw in upcoming will be taken by Amy Bizup for East Brunswick.
Seems that it's been part of the game plan for Westfield tonight to neutralize Lisa Raby. Every time you look up, even if you look right now, there's always 2 to 3 blue shirts around her, and they've been effective at it tonight. They've
and Dina Colo wide open, gets a shot. Oh my goodness, another save. Wow. Amy Korchak coming up huge, point blank. As I said before, it's got to be such a feeling. I know playing in my own high school career and other people playing their careers, we come up with saves like that in such a big game. It just is a great feeling. I mean, your team is broken down, but you're single-handedly holding them in there. And Coach Peter Giordano and the rest of the Westfield team must be so thankful that they have Korchak back there. Of course, it's sad for them. They'll lose her. Jessamine Lee, who's a sophomore now, as their backup goalkeeper, will step into the lineup for her. But it's a big loss as she single-handedly kept the lead only at 1-0 for East Brunswick. Substitution into the game for the Lady Bears. That time was Tina Karzima. Comes back into the game, and the player down on the turf, getting up slowly, was Folger. Suzanne Folger does get back up. The referee now checking on her to see if she's all right. And it looks like he's pointing her towards the sideline. We'll send her out for a little bit. Even though she wants to stay in, I'm sure most players would in that position. She is only a sophomore, though. She'll have her chance to come back to this game. but she still desperately wants to be on there the field to do something for her team. So the kick now taken. And the new substitution, Karzima, sends it up. And it rolls almost out of bounds. It looked like that time Korchak was over the end line, but playing as a smart goalkeeper, her body was over the end line. The ball never went out, so she keeps it in. 15-10 left to go in the match, just over 15 minutes left in the game. 1-0 to score, East Brunswick on top. Good chance here for Westfield, as Susan McCloy could have gotten there for that ball, but Jessica Shue, the stopper, comes up big once again. The senior doing a great job once again in her final game in her career at East Brunswick.
By watching the two goalies, you could see that East Brunswick certainly has the lead and comfortable with it. Laura Buttenbaum holding on to that ball as she watched the clock on that last series when she punted it away.
And another cross. Karen Bizup looking for her second goal. Takes out one player running through the ball. Two players knocked down in the play. A very tough play there. No foul for either team. It was clean. There's all four of them going for the ball. Two Westfield defenders, Karen Bizup and goalkeeper Amy Korchak. Throw in for the Bears.
So saying on the other end of the field, Korchak.
And that time, excuse me for a second,
No
Scott, that
problem.
was a call there as Tina Karzima called for the push.
Yeah,
Westfield will get the direct kick.
She certainly picked an elbow up on that one, and that was a good call. As I was saying, Amy Korchak was quick to clear the ball out last time, and she knows, she's telling our players in the backfield, you can't waste time now. The longer it stays down here, we can't put the ball in the net from our side of the field. We have to get the ball up the other side, and there she goes very quickly.
You see it once again, right away. She's going to try to get the punts off. Can't rush it too much. She needs to get a good punt like that one up close to midfield. That's a very nice kick for her, but she has to try to keep the ball up there. They need to clear. East Brunswick, on their hand, should take their time, but they also need to clear. They can't afford to leave the ball down in their defensive end. 13:40 to go, 1-0 still to score. East Brunswick with the lead, and now a foul signaled against East Brunswick. Westfield with a direct kick 40 yards out, on the far sideline. Not much of a shot chance opportunity coming up, but it is a good chance for them to put a ball on over the top perhaps and get in towards one of their leading scorers, Stacy Tortolat and her teammates. So the direct kick is taken. It is high in towards the middle. Swartz plays it out off her stomach. And East Brunswick looks to clear. Karen Bizup does it once again to Dina Cole. Dina Cole gets almost to the ball. She didn't get to the original ball. That was Lisa Raby that time. Now a good chance. Coming out of the net and missing it that time, Laura Buttenbaum. She stays out after she comes off her line.
There's an open net.
And Stacy Tortolat had the open net, but she had some good defense. Shue once again was there for East Brunswick on defense, along with another player. It's kind of hard to see exactly who else was there. Good defensive effort, though, as you mentioned, Scott, though. An open net opportunity. Buttenbaum came off her line. Once she missed the initial save, though, she did a good job in not running back right away. She tried to keep the pressure on, and then after the ball was crossed, tried to get back to the goal. However, it's tough. They left the open net, but Westfield couldn't capitalize. Now East Brunswick tries to clear.
That's already the third time this half that Westfield's had an open net, and it's just a tribute to East Brunswick's defense. I would say that this has been a defensive battle, obviously, by the score 1-0. You could tell that it's not a high-scoring game, but on both sides of the field, East Brunswick's defense has held East Brunswick in it. And on the other side of the field, Amy Korchak for Westfield has held Westfield in it.
And once again, on that last play, we can now know who was the other player there. Chris McLaughlin was also there, along with Jessica Shue. We haven't mentioned her too much tonight, but she's also a senior fullback, doing a nice job shutting down Westfield, who has a corner kick now. It goes into the middle. Save, Buttenbaum knocks it out, shot. And once again, the offensive gun, Stacy Tortolat, just isn't firing right tonight, just missing again. That's a tough shot there. She didn't have much of an angle, but having a tough time trying to keep it in. So now East Brunswick will substitute once again. They haven't done it much tonight, but now they're going to bring back on Chris Black. And stepping to the sideline, it looks like we're trying to see exactly who it is. And it was the substitution that came in earlier, Tina Karzima. So goal kick chance. 11 minutes to go, just over 11, about 11:10 left. 1-0 to score. East Brunswick on top in the girls' Group 4 state final. Westfield getting a little bit nervous now, trying to keep the ball in there. That time it was knocked out of bounds by Antonio Lofredo. So we have a throw-in. Jeannie Raby will take it for East Brunswick. Keeping it in, Lori Chelius. Once again, Westfield looking a little bit flustered out there. They've got just over 10 minutes to score. That's a lot of time. They need to realize on their field they've got to calm down a bit. And that time they're whistled for the call. Again, Antonio Lofredo with the ball. Called for the push, direct kick for East Brunswick. But really, Westfield, if they want to get back in this, they've got to calm down and just play very collected out there on the field.
You're beginning to notice Westfield is looking frustrated. If you've had 4 opportunities to put a ball in an open net, or 3 opportunities to put a ball in an open net, they've had a number of indirect kicks just outside the box, a number of corner kicks, they have to be feeling frustrated.
So now the goalkeeper, Korchak, gets the punt off to Tortolot. Lexi Tortolot with the ball, looking for Stacy running down the left wing. In the middle, trying to get there, the player Elizabeth Capano, who had a chance earlier, was knocked off the crossbar. And Swartz just gets it back in time to Laura Buttenbaum. 2 players attacking. Again, Capano, along with Stacy Tortolot. She's been basically doing nothing tonight, as Laura Buttenbaum also coming up big, as you just saw her with that last punt there. In goal for East Brunswick, Dina Colo with the through ball, looking for Lisa Rabi. She'll settle just outside the 18. 1 defender on it, cuts back, gets the shot, and the goal! Lisa Rabi ices the game, 2-0. 9.5 minutes to go. East Brunswick's now on top, 2-0 over Westfield in the Group 4 state final.
That was a well-deserved goal. Excellent move, excellent cutback. She put that one in, and you see the clock is continuing to run.
I noticed actually it did that in the last goal. That might be something with the state finals that I guess you don't see that in college ball as much. In high school ball, they will let the time keep rolling. Although there is an official on the sideline on the phone with the press box. He now has stopped the clock. That's somewhat interesting. Westfield lost a precious 20 seconds there. But either way, East Brunswick does get the goal. They're on top, 2-0.
2-0 is the key deficit in soccer. 1 more goal for East Brunswick, this game's over. 1 goal for Westfield, they're back in it by a 1-0 deficit. So obviously both teams are going to be playing very tough now as they've been all night. But if you notice right after goals are scored, as always, both teams will come out very intense. Westfield's starting to panic now, 2-0. 2-0 deficit, just under 9 minutes left in the game according to the clock, but we don't know where that is the official time, as the official time may be kept down on the field.
So now Lisa Rabi being acknowledged as the goal scorer officially by the press box. The goal's actually not been put up on the scoreboard yet, but either way, East Brunswick does hold the 2-0 lead over Westfield. That's a big quality goal there. Lisa Rabi, as we mentioned, has been the player East Brunswick's gone to all along, mostly over the last 4 years. Even back in her freshman year, she scored a number of goals. But since then, she's really come on strong, scoring over 100. And that's the kind of player you want. It's a player, it's sad that East Brunswick will be losing. She's been there all along. You need someone that can get down to clutch time. You let this game go 1-0 till the last minute. There's a real good chance Westfield can get some pressure on and score. Right now, they're very hard pressed. They've got to score 2 goals just to tie.
Right, they really have to put a ball in the net quickly. And a very fitting ending to the career of Lisa Rabi, as she is the all-time leading scorer in East Brunswick history. She, with that goal, I believe, has 116 goals. And it's been a very promising career. Lisa hasn't expressed any interest in playing collegiate soccer, a loss to the collegiate soccer world, but a very fitting ending to a fine career here at East Brunswick.
And as we mentioned before with Rabi, even back in her freshman year, she scored 18 goals back in 1989. As we've said it before, we'll just say it again, though, back in 1989, that was the year that East Brunswick and Westfield played in the state final. It was a 0-0 draw in that match earlier in that year in the first high school game for seniors Lisa Rabi, or now seniors Lisa Rabi, Karen Bizup, and Deborah Nicolo. It was a 2-1 win for East Brunswick against Westfield. So this is, again, a fitting end to their career, especially with Karen Bizup and Lisa Rabi getting 2 of the goals, the 2 goals for East Brunswick over Westfield tonight.
Yes, and a good example of how experience pays off. You have to figure that they have that 0-0 tie in the back of their mind. They were on the field. They saw that game. They know what it was about. They really were able to experience it, something that a lot of the other players that get here don't ever have the opportunity to experience, is 2 state championship games.
So now we're drawing towards a conclusion. 6:45 to go in the match. 2-0 East Brunswick on top. Westfield now trying to pick up the pace a little bit more. They're not showing any signs of letting down, but they're going to be hard-pressed to pick up 2 goals in the last couple of minutes, especially against the East Brunswick defense that has really shut down Westfield tonight. 3 open goal chances that were thwarted by plays such as the one by Jessica Shue getting 2 saves, actually one time when Laura Buttenbaum was out of the net. But East Brunswick now will bring in a couple of substitutions as they can sense this one's getting close to a conclusion. Coming into the match for them, Kelly Petcher, a senior midfielder, and that's fitting she'll come in, as well as Allison Lowenstein, another senior. They're going to coach Brian Merrigan. We'll get some playing time for all of his seniors tonight. That's a very classy thing to do. You know, you're getting towards the end of the game. You've got this one wrapped up. Get them all in there. They all should have a feeling of sharing this state championship. That should happen if they hold on to this 2-0 lead.
It's very true. Westfield's attempt to pick up the pace of this game is dead balls are being picked up much quicker on the Westfield end. Of course, East Brunswick isn't in the same hurry. But again, Amy Korchek playing practically a sweeper position. She's been out of that out of that goal box a number of times tonight.
And the push will be called there. Should be against East Brunswick. Westfield will get the direct kick out there on the field. But on the play earlier, to set that play up, Deborah DiNicola once again with a nice through ball. She did pick up an assist actually on the first goal, sending the crossing pass to Karen Bizup. Very nice pass there. She's been doing it all night, as well as throughout her career as well. So East Brunswick now with 5 minutes to go. They're up 2-0. They're just trying. They're still keeping some pressure on. DiNicola had goal side on there. Was pushed a little bit from behind, but now there's a whistle. Offsides will be signaled against East Brunswick, but that doesn't mean much now. Under 5 minutes to go, they're up 2-0. They just want to hold on to the lead, keep the ball up there as long as they can.
Westfield certainly in a hurry, but for East Brunswick, time now is academic. They're in absolutely no hurry.
And what could have been a dangerous play call there, I thought should have been as Lexi Tortolat had her foot straight up in the air. Cleats pointing upward. She will not get the call. Oh, and it looks like it might have been changed. They're waiting to see what happens. Yes, that's what I thought. Originally, it looked like a push going against East Brunswick, but the referees from both sides of the field having a little dispute between the two of them. The clock is now stopped at 4:26 left in the game, 2-0 the score. And the near side referee calling the play the original way it was called, going for Westfield. A little bit strange, I'd have to say, of a call. I thought there might have been a dangerous play or something else on there. But that doesn't mean too much right now. Westfield really has to do something. Their main offensive weapon, Stacy Tortolet, has done very little out there on the field besides push a lot and try to, create some havoc in that way. But in terms of getting shots off, she hasn't done very much. And that was the key for the team coming in for Westfield. But as Coach Brian Merrigan said for East Brunswick, the key for their defense would be to shut her down, as well as her sister Lexi. And they've done a great job of that so far. So with just over 4 minutes to go, they're up 2-0. Now the ball cleared. Looking up towards Lisa Raby. She's on the left. Goes to DiNicola. She plays it off a misplay by Westfield defender. Raby showing some real speed at the 18. Gets the shot off. Just a great combination by the two of them there on what looked to be a broken play. As Raby got the through ball from DiNicola once again, as we have another two substitutions ready to enter the game for East Brunswick. One of them is Courtney Bloor, a junior forward, number 41 on the field. And it's got, trying to see what the other one there.
I think that was 25, Katie Giegerich, also a senior. And as you said before, I think that was an excellent point. Coach Merrigan is trying to get his seniors into the game. Kelly Petcher coming on just a few minutes ago. She hadn't seen any playing time tonight prior to that. And it's a fitting end to a long career, as many of these girls have played together in club ball, traveling team ball for many years.
There's another fitting end. At least for this season, Coach Lucosa is down on the sidelines with his East Brunswick squad. He hasn't been down there too much during the year, as he did have the stroke earlier in the season, a minor stroke. But he's been able to be well enough at least to watch the game down there and help out. His assistant, Brian Merrigan, has taken over very capably in the head coaching position. But Coach Cosa is down there, and he's ready and hoping that his team will get yet another state championship for him.
Another thing to mention is Sunny Regalado stepped in at the assistant coaching role this year to assist Brian Merrigan, and she too has been an asset to the program.
So now with 2:35 to go, 2-0 the score, East Brunswick on top of Westfield. We're here in the State Group 4 final. Paul Griegel and Scott White bring it to you from Trenton State College. And we're getting towards the end of the match as Westfield trying to get one last push to at least get one goal. They don't want to be shut out. Here's a good chance upcoming for Allison Lowenstein. Elizabeth Capano with it that time, but it's cleared out.
Westfield looking not to get shut down, but you have to think East Brunswick is keeping in mind that they have a school record on the line. If they can keep the ball out of the back of their net for less than 2 more minutes, this club will go down as the club with the most shutouts, 21. A number of other records, as we said, from this club. Lisa Raby, an all-time leading scorer with 116 goals. This team will have an undefeated season. They've had 2 in the last couple of years. One coming in 1985 when they were 25-0. And in 1989, they were 20-0-1. Now in 1992, they have the opportunity to go undefeated again with 21 shutouts.
So East Brunswick at 22-0 coming into the game, trying to make it 23-0. 2-0 to score, 1:20 to go in the match. East Brunswick on top of Westfield. Most of the fans' consensus almost over. East Brunswick ready to pick up another state championship. Westfield fans starting to file out a little bit more as it's drawing towards the end. It's been a hard-fought match, but East Brunswick with a combination of some great effort back on defense and a little bit of luck in some ways. Of course, one shot did go off the crossbar, and there are 3 open net chances, but I wouldn't call it so much luck, especially with Jessica Shue coming in there and making the save. So we have under a minute to go, 2-0 the score. East Brunswick ready to finish this one up. The fans are excited, the cheerleaders are on their feet, everyone's ready. All it's going to take is another 45 seconds, and East Brunswick will be the state champions for 1992. Handball called out on the field. Again, purely academic, as there will be a direct kick upcoming 35 yards out. Westfield will try, with 30 seconds to go, to place the ball into the back of the net to try to break the 2-0 shutout.
As you say, East Brunswick on the verge of picking up their 5th Group 4 state championship in the last few years.
And
good opportunity for Westfield, but
had the shot there.
They hold tough and they hold on for the for holding that bull out of the net and possibly another shutout. As I was saying, East Brunswick has Group 4 state championships 86, 87, 89, and 90.
So 3 seconds, 2, and 1. It's over. East Brunswick is the 1992 State Group 4 champions for girls soccer with a 2-0 victory over Westfield.
And there it is, as I was saying just a minute ago, East Brunswick picks up their 5th state championship in the last few years, 1986, 87, 89, and 90. You mentioned just a little bit earlier, Coach Lukos, a major contributor to that. The winningest coach in New Jersey over the last decade. He's been around and built this program. They've been GMC champions now for the last 12 years, including this year with a win over, one of their 4 wins over Madison Central. And now East Brunswick will be accepting the state trophy in just a moment.
That's right, they will get the State Group 4 championship trophy. Coach Brian Merrigan, along with the former head coach Lou Cosa, will be out there for the presentation. As you can see, the whole East Brunswick team, they still have to shake hands first with Westfield. You can't forget, though, in this game that Westfield did come out there and play really tough. They didn't get too many chances on offense, but they really were kept in it all along. Amy Korchak, you can't blame her performance back there in the goal. 2 excellent goals by East Brunswick to get the 2-0 lead, but that's what it took, especially at this level. It should take that. You need to have 2 real quality goals because you have a goalkeeper out there who shouldn't be ashamed of herself. She did a great job.
Certainly. If we had to pick an MVP tonight for Westfield, I would without a doubt make my vote for Amy Korchak. She kept them alive throughout the game. She kept it a close game, came up with some very big saves, not only physically, but she's been a leader on the field. You can see she's taking control of that backfield, and it shows off. Now you see Brian Merrigan coming over with the Lady Bears, getting ready to accept the trophy.
And Coach Merrigan accepting congratulations from the assistant coaches for Westfield, as well as their head coach, Peter Giordano, as now you can see the trophy being held high overhead by the Lady Bears of East Brunswick. They've got yet another state championship. They're getting it now, smiling for the pictures. They got their cheerleaders cheering, their fans are here. And East Brunswick really is something to be proud of in this squad, going 23-0 in the year, 21 shutouts. That's just an unbelievable number. Regardless of who you play, even if some of the games are easier, you just have to beat teams like Madison Central, Holy Cross to get here. And then to beat Westfield 2-0, the top team coming out of the northern half of the state, is just really a testament to how strong this East Brunswick squad is.
Yes, it's certainly been one of the best seasons that East Brunswick has ever seen. And you mentioned a number of records were broken this year, a number of long-standing records. They picked up the undefeated season. They picked up the 21 shutouts. You see a last chair by the Lady Bears. I've just been notified also that, befittingly, the Lady Bears head coach, Lou Cosa, was given the game ball tonight. And this pretty much...
And we see him there on the sideline. Before getting the ball, in fact, he was with his seniors, taking pictures with a number of them. They've been with him for a while, for those last 4 years. He's really led them to a lot. Of course, once again, this season, one of the best in recent memory for any school, anywhere, 23-0, 21 shutouts. But Coach Cosa has been there all along, as well as the seniors.
All right, and that'll be it. A 2-0 victory for East Brunswick, making them the Group 4 state champs over Westfield. And that's about it, Paul. For Dave Ambrosi and Peter Canamass, the technical crew, and for my assistant, Paul Griegel, I'm Scott White saying goodnight. Thanks for being with us.